All right, sorry, Brody, number 2. I didn't start recording anything. All right, so when you take negative 2.25 and divide it by 6.5, you get that long decimal. You can hit second, PRD, enter, and that will give it to you as a fraction. If you don't want to do that, I will also accept. This lesson will also accept a negative 0.35. So either one of those will be accepted because it's an estimation. So no, it's not the answer, that's the slope. So my answer is y equals, and you can use either one of those as your slope, I don't care. So negative 0.35x, and then my y-intercept was 8. Second O for math.
It's too much work. All this for one question that I'm not going to ever use.
All right, we're doing another one. Okay. We're going to do another one here. All right, so obviously, I'm talking. Obviously, I'm going to choose this point because it hits the line. And then you can choose any other point. You could choose the y-intercept one. So you could choose this one, or you could choose this one, or you could choose this one. It doesn't matter. Okay? As long as you choose any 2 points that are close to touching the line or on the line, you just can't choose 2 that are directly next.
It's under her desk. Really under your, it's under your, like, it's like in your
Okay, so we'll go with Ryan. We'll choose this one. This is also the y-intercept, which is what? 60, and I'm also going to use that as a point. So that's the point 0, 60. And this is the point, I would say 5, and then these are counting by 20s. So what's halfway between 100 and 120? 110. So we'll call that 110. So I chose those 2 points. That first one's obvious that it's 0, 60. That second one, we're going to estimate that that's about halfway between 100 and 120, which is 110. So we're just going to estimate that right there. Estimate it, yeah. All right, so I know my y-intercept, so that just leaves me to find my slope. So x1, y1, x2, y2. So y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So 110 minus 60, that's 50 over 5, which is 10. That's nice. Yeah. Okay, so that's my slope. That's my slope. And I already found my y-intercept where it crossed the y-axis. So y equals m, which is 10x, and then plus b, my y-intercept is 60. Also, one thing that you need to be doing, important right now, look at this line from left to right. What kind of line would you say this is? Negative. So I know my slope should be negative. This one should be positive slope. Okay, let's go ahead and go with this one, and we're going to choose these 2 points.
That's why this is called
All right, shh. I want you to try this one yourselves. Choose the 2 blue points that I said. Well, there's the 2 that are touching the line on your paper. Oh. The 2 that are touching the line on your paper. I would say it was 25.
You said the first one like 7.5.
Yes. That's exactly what I would say. Find the ordered pairs for the two that I put on there. So if you're still struggling, this would be the ordered pair 25, 4. And this would probably be the ordered pair about 7.5, 7.5. Because that's halfway between 5 and 10, which is 7.5. All right, so looking at it, my y-intercept is 9. All right, and then I'm going to start finding my slope. So y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So that's negative 3.5 divided by 25 minus 7.5 is 17.5. And then negative 3.5 divided by 17.5 is negative 0.2. Okay.
Hi there, I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm not.
I know, for sweet little Addison and Catherine Campbell.
I get it for my favorite Eddie June. And for my favorite daughter.
Favorite daughter, I was thinking Eddie Lauren.
Well, Lauren's not here.
Lauren is so mean to my dad.
I always tell.
Lauren hates me unless I'm at basketball.
I always tell Kate because when I first had him, I brought him to the football banquet. Lauren goes, Mom, you kiss his head. And she was like so into it, like.
She still is.
She still is. Well, she saw him at the basketball game a couple weeks ago, and she couldn't get a basketball game.
Yes, Blake.
You know how to prove Burton that you like me more
You know that I like you more than Brody.
Brody 1, 2, or 3.
Yeah. Now, Brody.
He didn't have.
Now, McLaughlin's not this fun, is it?
No.
I see how it is.
All right, keep up the good work in here.
Okay, so we found the slope was negative 0.2. So y equals negative 0.2x, and then y-intercept was 9. All right, we're going to go ahead and move on, and we're going to use that line to do some predictions, okay? Good. Okay, so number 4 says the scatter plot below, says the scatter plot below shows the number of items in a load of laundry and the number of minutes it takes to fold the laundry. Use that data to answer A through C. So part A says, write the trend line equation. Specify what each variable represents in the context of the situation. So, writing the trend line, that's what we just did for the last 3 problems. So, let's do that together, and I'm going to go to the next problem by yourself. But, okay, so, obviously, I'm going to choose this point right here, and then probably this point right here because it's the other one that's on the line. Those aren't too close. No, there's a few points between them. And they touch the line. What's my y-intercept? 0. Okay. Alright, so, I'm talking. Alright, so obviously this point, hi! Obviously this point is 2010. 2010, and then this point, I would guesstimate this to be about 27 and a half, because it's perfectly in the middle of 25 and 30, and I would say that this is probably like 13 or 14. It doesn't really matter. We'll say 14, okay. I don't care. Everybody's is going to be a little bit different based on what you count that as, okay? All right, so this is my first point, my second point. So y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, so that's 4, and then that's 7.5, and 4 divided by 7.5, and I'll just round that to 0.53. Four divided by 7.5. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like on practice.
Yeah, the fraction plus division. All right, so my equation is y equals 0.53x, and you can put the plus 0, but you don't have to. Now, it wants you to label the variables. So, the way that I'm going to get the labels for the x and the y are based on what they're labeled on the graph. So, everybody look at the x-axis. What's it labeled on the x-axis? Number of items. So, I'm just going to put a little arrow and say that this is the number of items. Okay? What's it labeled on the y-axis? The number of minutes. So, that takes care of number 1.
He says that every time.
Okay.
Maybe you should pay.
I didn't ask what people thought right now. Right? All right, letter B. Letter B. Use the equation to predict the time it would take to fold a load of laundry containing 60 items. So they're telling you predict 60 items using that equation. So I just labeled my X and my Y. This is labeled the word items. So where do you think the 60 would go? In the X, because it's labeled items, so it's going in the item spot. So I'll do Y equals 0.53 times 60 plus 0. And I'm just typing that in my calculator blade. I'm just typing it in, just like that, and Y will equal that. So I'm doing 0.53 times 60 plus 0. And I get 31.8. And that would be minutes. So it would take 31.8 minutes to dry or to fold 60 items. Okay, part C. It took Joey 22 minutes to fold a load of laundry. Use the equation to predict the number of items in the load that Joey folded. So look right here, everybody. 22 minutes. Minutes. Where would I put the 22 minutes? In the Y spot. So I put it in the Y. So 22 equals 0.53x, and you don't have to put the plus 0 because anything plus 0 is itself. And then it turns into a one-step equation. So I'll divide by 0.53. So 22 divided by 0.53, and I got about 41.5 items. You could round it up to 42, because obviously you can't put half an item in there. I'm okay with either.
No, because if you guys are self,
Yeah, there's one and you got one of the socks.
All right.
That's how like the first three questions were like.
It'll have one like this. All right. I'm gonna tell you all this. I wanted to choose this point and this point. But I want everybody to do this on themselves. I want you to choose the 2 points that I put in green. Yeah, I chose that on purpose. Go ahead and put these 2 points up there. If you're struggling, it's 0, 300 and 3, 250. And just round your decimal to 2 decimal places. Yeah. Yeah. You can. I probably wouldn't. All right, answer A, B, and C. Yeah, it'll be a little bit more difficult. Shh. Guys, let's give people a chance. Yeah, I'm fine with it. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and start making my equation. So obviously the y-intercept is also that 300. So y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So that's negative 50 over 3. Yeah, so negative like 16.67. If you made it negative 16 and 2/3, I don't care. Okay, so my equation is y equals negative 16.67x plus the y-intercept, which is 300. And guys, this was a negative slope because my line was going down from left to right. I would always go to decimals just to make it a little more exact. All right, the x is representing what? Days, and the y represents the drinks. Okay, so when I go on to part B, use the equation to predict the number of drinks in a vending machine that was last stocked 12 days to go. 12 days, Ireland. Right, but I said make sure you do 2 decimal places. So if you round it to the nearest whole number, it's not going to be as accurate. Again, when I always taught this in algebra 2, we did 4 decimal places to make it more accurate. Still the same. Okay, 12 days. Franklin, where am I going to put the 12 at? Or does it say days? The X. We're going to put that in for the X. So y equals negative 16.67 times 12 plus 300. So just typing that in my calculator block, okay? Just typing it in. And we get 200.
Negative.
Oh, I was like, I got 99.96, which is the same thing as 100 drinks. Negative 16.67 times 12 plus 300.
I didn't put you negative.
I don't know that.
Wait, so we have to round up.
Well, because you can't have 0.96 of a drink. No, you can't. No, they're asking, predict the number of drinks in a vending machine. You can't, it's Coke. Like bottles or cans or no. On which part?
Wait. I'm like how you can't hold that. Yeah.
Oh, negative 16.67. All right, guys, hush. All right, part C. Use that equation to predict the number of days since a vending machine was stocked with it currently contains 50 drinks. So drinks are going to go in for the Y. So 50 equals negative 16.67x plus 300. That's a 2-step equation, which we should be professional at because we've been working on it on our DMR for 2 weeks now. So I subtract the 300 first. So that's negative 16.67x equals negative 250. And then I'll divide by the negative 16.67. So negative 250 divided by negative 16.67. And I get x equals 14.997, which we're going to round that to 15 days. We'll just go 15 days there because that's so close. Well, these are prediction lines, so it's just an estimate. It's not an exact science. It's a prediction, and that's just like in the world, like even meteorologists, they can't predict the snow. They can say that it might happen, but they're never exact. So these are predictions. They're not an exact science. Okay, we're gonna have to stop there just because we're running out of time. There's not any homework. Okay, so if you missed anything up there.